Hi everyone, this is Shane from Blind Dog Blades, and I have a 50th birthday coming up next weekend, and my wife surprised me with this 25-ton log splitter. So I'm going to turn her into a forging press. It's made by County Line and sold through Tractor Supply. It's got a Kohler 6.5 horse gas engine on it. So I'm going to pull that off. I think I can make that work on my old snowblower. Then I'll hook up an electric motor to it. Has a 14 gallon per minute 2-stage hydraulic pump. So to power it, let's walk back in the rat hole. Excuse the mess. It's got a couple options. I originally wanted to use a single phase motor. I've got an old Delta 3 horsepower. It's single phase, but it's only 1700 RPM. Everything I've read says you want a 3600 RPM motor. So this is also, that's the 3-phase Century 5 horsepower motor, but it's also only 1700 RPM. So I've got a few of these old Sterling 5 horse 3600 RPM motors. I'm going to slap one of them on there, see if we can make that work. So I got one cleaned up. Go ahead and run it for you. Kick on the phase converter. So this is one I tore apart, cleaned up, checked the bearings, put new grease in them. These old things are solid cast iron. It weighs a ton. They're for a 3600 RPM motor. They're fairly quiet. They'll probably sound a lot louder than it really is on this camera, but let me go ahead and run it. Smooth. So I think that'll work well for this press. So this weekend I'm going to get started making a stand. Get this tore apart, get it lifted up on there, and hopefully I can get the electric motor hooked up to it and try out the hydraulics on it. And if everything works, I'll go ahead and start tearing into it, get rid of all this crap, make a good guide system for it, and hopefully we'll be up and running. So until then, I'll talk to you later. Okay, here's a quick video showing little progress I've made on the press. Yesterday I got it all tore apart, completely disassembled everything on it. Spilled some hydraulic fluid on the floor, shop's a mess. But we went and hit the salvage yard and got some metal. So I picked up an old light pole column I'll use for the anvils. Got a chunk of forklift tines. So I'll use that for the dies and stuff. That's good steel. And just some miscellaneous scraps and thick plates and stuff so I can make the guide system on this. Also picked up some more metal for the stand. Got screaming deal on this stuff. Only paid 24 bucks for all that. So the stand's not quite finished. I'm going to add some more supports to it and put some shelves on it so we can store different dies and stuff in there. Still need to get the starter mounted to it. So the column, I used the cherry picker to lift that up onto it. The thing weighs a ton. Then I used a come along and hoisted up the hydraulic tank. Got it mounted. And then got the 5 horse 3600 RPM motor mounted to it. I built a couple leveling jacks on there so I could get the hydraulic pump and the Lovejoy couplers lined up just perfect. So I ran it, and surprisingly this thing moves super fast. I'm getting 4 seconds an inch, or 4 inches per second of movement, so that's pretty quick for a press. But this damn hydraulic pump is so frickin' noisy. So I'm thinking of maybe trying one of them other motors out. One of the slower ones. Which will slow down the speed of the ram. But hopefully make it a little quieter. The way it is right now, I gotta wear earplugs just to run the damn thing. So I still need to build the anvils for it. One to mount to the base and the other one to the bottom of the ram. I need to make a guide system for it to move up and down, because that's way too sloppy. So I've got a pretty good idea how to do that. So hopefully tomorrow I can get most of that done. And then I'll post another video, hopefully crushing some steel. But let me go ahead and run this, kick on the phase converter. And you might want to turn down your sound, because like I said, this sucker is noisy. Let's use this starter. Noisier than hell. I don't know if it'll quiet down a little bit with some use, some wear, or if it'll get worse. I haven't measured the overall height, but I bet we're probably pushing 9 feet, 8.5 feet. So overall I'm happy, other than the noise. I don't know how great these pumps are that come on these log splitters. Might be why it's so damn noisy. Might have to invest in a better one, I don't know. But anyway, tomorrow, hopefully I make some more progress on it. I'll shoot another quick video. Thanks. So change of plans for today. That other motor I pulled off, the 3600 RPM. I'm gonna put this old Delta 1740, something like that, 1760 RPM motor on it. This is a 3-horse. Thought it was 5, but it's a 3. Sure, a big bastard for a 3-horse. So in order to fit the Lovejoy coupler on it, I need to turn down the motor shaft from a 1-inch down to a 3/4. So I got it mounted in my old Sheldon lathe using high-speed steel because it's an interrupted cut where that old keyway is. If I use carbide, it would just bust it. So I'll turn that down to 3/4, get the coupler mounted, get it thrown back up on the press. Luckily, bolt pattern's the same. So the holes I already drilled should fit. And after I get that up and wired in, I'll shoot another video and hopefully it'll be a lot quieter. That other motor wasn't the motor, but it was the speed of it that made that pump so damn noisy. And to be quite honest, it scared the hell out of me. I don't like working in a noisy environment. You can't hear what's going on around you. So we'll be back later. So today I got the old 3-phase motor pulled off and got the Delta motor mounted up. Had to pull the guts out of it and put it on the lathe, turn the shaft down to fit the Lovejoy connector. Believe it or not, this huge old motor is only a 3-horse motor, but it's pulling 17 amps on 220 single phase. So it's got plenty of power. It's a repulsion induction motor, so it's not a real quiet motor. It's got a high-pitched whine to it, but it's a lot better than what I had on there before. So I'll go ahead and run it. You can hear it. Still noisy, but not near as bad as it was before. Alright guys, made a little more progress on the press. I can't remember where I left off last time, so some of this might be a repeat, but got the die holders all done. So we made a set of combo dies and just a set of big flat dies that I can use top tools on or use it for punching drifts or stuff through hammers and axe heads. I also put some foot controls on there. And that seems to work real well. So I need to make a few more dies and start playing with this thing. One thing I did do when I was using it, I noticed this bottom plate, even though it's an inch thick, it was flexing a bunch. So I took and reinforced it a little bit by welding this angle iron in here to the main column. That stiffened it up a whole bunch. Still got a little bit of flex throughout the whole column. So I may stiffen it up as well. I'm going to try it out for a while and see how it works. So hopefully next video I shoot, I'll be making some Damascus or making a hammer or something on it. Until then, we'll see you later. Okay, I'm sure I'll get asked, so I figured I'd give the specs on this press. Some of the info I've already given, but I'll just keep it all in one spot. The press is... Where the hell did the tag go? Oh, I took it off. Anyway, it's a County Line log splitter. Sold through Tractor Supply, 25 ton. Got a 2-stage hydraulic pump, 14 gallons per minute. The motor is a 3 horsepower, 220 volt, 1760 RPM motor. I'm getting, with the slower motor on it, I'm getting a movement of 2 inches per second. Before with 3600 RPM I was getting 4 inches, but I cut the speed in half by going with this slower motor. But it's a lot quieter than it was before. The dies, originally I was gonna use that well, that, I don't know where the hell it went, that tubing that I got from a light pole column. But I decided to go this route instead. I've got 5 2-inch diameter solid steel round, their old drill rod. The bottom handle is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and it is 12 inches tall to this seam here. Top one's the same, 5 1/4, a 5 1/4, and 5 inches tall. The working height, sorry about the camera movement, I should be shooting this on a tripod, but about 45 inches. What else? Run it with hand controls. Or foot control. This valve's got a detent on the up, and it's stiffer than hell. I watched a video and I think I can adjust that, tear it into it. So I may loosen it up or just take it completely out. The plate for the die blocks, that's 1/2 inch thick. One other thing I didn't give, these are 1 inch thick plates, top and bottom. Ignore my welding. Some days I do good, other days I don't do worth a damn. There was also a lot of slop up top up there. So I had to I turned some shims on the lathe. You can't really even see them in the video. and shimmed the bore and also shimmed along the sides, and that took the slop out, so it made it a lot sturdier. And I still need to build some shelves, but for the most part this is done. I may strip some of this rust off and give it a paint job, but for now I'm just going to put it to use. Well, overall height is 8 foot 7 inches. I don't know if I gave that. It's tall. If I ever have to move it, it's going to be fun. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Bye. One last thing, I realized I forgot to show how the guides on this thing works. Most log splitters are an I-beam, and the guides clamp. You have one on the front, one on the back, sliding up and down. This one, you already had this channel built into it, so I just used that. Let's see if you can see it. So I've got 2 pieces of 1-inch thick steel, 3 inches wide, 14 inches long. The longer you can make it, the more stable it'll be. Keep it from any slop in it. So those are fitted real tight. Had to do some grinding and sanding on it to get it to fit in there good and snug. So I've got one on each side, and I've wedged them against the sides, clamped them in place, then drilled up this 1/2 inch thick steel, drilled the holes, and tapped some bolts. I don't know if you can see those in there. Got 6 bolts holding that to these, and it's good and tight. There's absolutely no play at all in it, and hopefully that'll last a while. Got a little bit of grease in there to help things slide up and down and stuff. Alright, that'll be the end of this video, hopefully. Bye.